Pat, I'm grateful that the legacy that you leave in Mike and your grandsons and granddaughters, the legacy that you leave is picture perfect of that old adage, because you have left for us someone who I do believe exemplifies the same character and courage that you did. Again, Godspeed, Pat Johnson. I'm CL. It'll take a minute. Be right back. CL, back with you on this Friday here in the jeweled cities of the Arklatex. Coming up a little bit later on in the show will be Larry Taunton of Fixed Point Ministries. I was with him. Of course, he has his place down in the south of France where he's going to tell us a lot about that, but he's also going to tell us about his trip to Oxford the other day and just how messed up the English are over there. Hey, let me tell you something. The Muslims are overrunning England. He'll tell you about that. The Muslims are overrunning England. Now, you can say what you want and everything. And by the way, the president-elect is down in Baton Rouge today. He's down in Baton Rouge today. He's going to be helping and talking to some of our home folks. In fact, our good friend Bill Cassidy, Senator Bill Cassidy, will be on with us. Bill will be the senior senator from Louisiana here in just a short minute. After January 20th, he will be the senior citizen from Louisiana. And, of course, the junior senator going in, I believe, will be John Kennedy. And Donald Trump is down there today trying to help Kennedy do just that, win that senatorial seat. I hope you've done your part. I've already done my part. I've gone and voted already. The early voting was over, I think, last Saturday. And so this is what I'm saying. And you're going to see that we have to be concerned about this. I don't care how you feel about it. There is a certain truth to all of this. And the truth is this. The truth is this. We can face the same type of scenario that England is facing if we don't wise up. I'm going to hear from Larry Taunton just a little bit later on. Now, I'm holding in my hand here something that is, I think, very, very unique. In fact, I am told that there are none other like it at all. There are none other like it at all. It is a tumbler that is made by my good friend, that's put out by my good friend Louis Avalone. And I'm not seeing a website on this copy. But I want you, I'm going to be giving that out here in weeks to come. In weeks to come. You're going to be able to order this. Oh, here it is. It's refreshingliberty.com. Refreshingliberty.com. Let me tell you about it. It is a first-time tumbler. There's none like it, with all of the 44, now 45 presidents, including Donald Trump, on it. It has the years that they served. It keeps your drinks hot and cold. And I think you will absolutely love this thing. I have one. Got one from refreshingliberty.com. Refreshingliberty.com is the website to go to. You can see it there and order it. Have one of a kind. I think I'm going to really like this. Now, folks, back to a theme that we'll basically have here in this segment for the next couple of minutes anyway. I was talking about John Glenn. I mentioned John Glenn a little bit earlier. And there was a time in this country when when you hear the words, "Make America Great Again," I want to tell you something. I was with a group of mixed pastors. When I say mixed, I mean black and white pastors of all denominations, many denominations, the other day. Even the Quakers were there in Washington, D.C. But you won't believe this. One of the pastors actually said, when was America ever great for me? Huh. And you know what? That very well could be a sentiment of many in this country who don't understand just how great an opportunity they have by virtue of being born in this nation. Now, if I was in starving Russia, cold, starving Russia under a communist regime, or if I was in the countryside of China, totalitarian, tyrannical China, heavy hand, if I was living under the rule, the iron boot of North Korea's Kim Jong-un, I could possibly be justified in saying, when were those countries ever great for me? Because they weren't, and as far as we can see into the near future, they probably will not be. But Americans, don't you dare take on the attitude of asking the question, when it is great for you every moment that you are here, because every moment in a place like America that is the land of opportunity, is the land of your fortune changing, is the land of e pluribus unum, where each one of us have an endowment by our Creator to pursue our lives, our liberty, and our happiness. That's a great day. And if you don't like it now, the countries that I have named, try there. Go try there. And I promise you that you will beg to get back into this country. When was America ever great for me? Please. I'm CL. Be right back. CL. A Friday here in the jeweled cities of the Arklatex. And I want to thank our friends in Wilmington, North Carolina, for bringing us into that family up there. And I want to remind all of you that 101.7 FM, 101.7 FM is where you can go to tune in the C.L. Bryant Show. Hopefully that's coming in crystal clear for you. Much better, I do believe, than what you're hearing on AM at 710. But we thank goodness for 710 Keel as well on the AM dial. But you can hear us at 101.7 FM from now on. And all you folks in the outer reaches might be hearing us a little bit better. Now, let me tell you this. If we can, Louisianans, let me talk to you for a minute. And then you folks in North Carolina, you need to follow suit. You folks throughout the nation, you need to follow suit of your various runoffs and so forth. But here in Louisiana, we have a runoff going on. And the president-elect is down in Baton Rouge right now, today with John Kennedy, who is running to become junior senator from Louisiana, to replace outgoing Senator David Vitter. And we're going to have on the show with me the ascending senior senator from Louisiana. That will be Bill Cassidy, Dr. Bill Cassidy, here in just a few minutes, or at the top of the hour. We're going to have him in with us. Now, it's important, Louisiana, that we hold serve in this. We need to hold serve because it does not seem to me, and this is my opinion, it doesn't make sense to me. And of course, the Democrats can be mad at me anyway. But and of course, I'd like to have them on. Call me if you want to, and we can talk about it. But it does not seem to me to make any sense to send a Democrat senator into a cauldron of Republicans. I mean, what do you for the first time in a long time, we Republicans actually have a chance to run the ball. We have the ball. We got it on the national stage. We have it here in Louisiana on the home front stage. But on the national stage, we have the House. We have the Senate. We have the presidency. We have the ball. It is 1st and 10, and we are driving. Let's not fumble that. Yeah, let's not fumble that. Because, believe me, the forces are out there. You heard me in the last segment. There are people. I was in the airport today. Let me tell you, I was sitting. You know how the airport seats are and so forth, in various airports, and I'm sitting sitting down away from my plane, and I'm listening to these two ladies talk, and one says to the other, that if the press says something he doesn't like, they may not come on tonight. They just may disappear. Do you know that is what people are feeling? That's what people are thinking may happen with the presidency of DJT. That's absurd thinking. But when we hear folks talking about there's a fear out there in America, people are scared. The immigrant, the illegal aliens are scared. They should be. Children are scared. College kids can't cope. Just with the thought. Are you kidding me? First of all, let's deal with this. I and everybody like me would raise up in absolute revolt against any one Republican, Democrat, whoever they are, that would try to silence the message of the press, even though many times, and the message of the media. And many times I don't agree with liberal media. I don't agree with the progressive liberalism and the political correctness that goes on in liberal media and the election fixing that the liberal media try to do. But if you can shut them up, you can shut me up too. And no, that is just absolutely insane. Hannity wouldn't stand for it. Beck wouldn't stand for it. Rush wouldn't stand for it. I wouldn't stand for it. Dr. Tom, nobody. Chris Wallace wouldn't stand for it. O'Reilly wouldn't stand for it. And certainly CNN and all the rest of them would not stand for it. So when you hear somebody say something like, you know that if the press, if the news people say anything against him that he doesn't like, they may not even come on, or they may find themselves gone away. It ain't going to happen in America. Not without revolution. No president, I don't care who he is, no president will ever be and you as citizens of this country, let me tell you something. You as citizens of this country, let me tell you something. Don't you ever buy into, don't even allow that type of stinking thinking to enter into your minds, because that is where tyrants began to multiply. They start in the minds of people who feel as though they are not in charge. And let me tell you something. If there was one thing that this past election did prove, is that the people of this country, silent though they were, and they were silent, because this Trump election was a surprise to everybody. I think it even surprised Donald Trump. I think it surprised him. I was talking to somebody about that. I was talking to one of the seminars that I was at speaking at this past weekend, this past week. I've lost track of days. I really think that he himself was surprised. I was. Word on the street. Everybody, Hillary was a shoo-in. But don't you start thinking that we the people are still not in control of this country, because we are. And I'll be back in just a minute.
Broadcasting from the Bayou State and all around the Gulf Coast and streaming nationwide. This is the C.L. Bryant Show.
All right. Time really goes by fast. We're already here at the top of the hour. Coming up in the next segment will be Congressman. Well, I think I'll bring on Larry Taunton in the next segment. But I want to tell you this, that there is now, I see an epidemic of high blood pressure in this country up until just about a month or two ago. I had never, and I thank God for this, but I had never considered being on any type of medication because I just never have had to have it. But I went to the doctor, because I'm traveling around all the time, and for the first time, my blood pressure, it wasn't for the first time, but was high. And I got to talking to people about it, and it seems as though that, and of course when you don't think you have it, you don't pay attention to it, and you don't think about other people who do. And I should have paid attention to it because my father and my mother, both of them, had high blood pressure. And but mine was high. And so I'm thinking now, well, gee whiz. I've heard my wife takes blood pressure medicine, but I've never had to do it. I know younger people than I am who are on high blood pressure medicine. But when I got to talking to folks about it out on the road, I just want to get their opinion on this thing. It seems like there's an epidemic of that. Diabetes in young people is on the rise as well. Of course, cancer is everywhere. And I don't know, maybe it is. Maybe you are what you eat. Maybe that is absolutely true. I tend to eat whatever I want to eat, but my doctor says I need to sort of modify that. Now that I'm, just about at the top of the hill. I'm not over it yet, but I'm just about at the top of that hill. And so I have been thinking about who is, I guess people just you can't look at anybody until they have high blood pressure. In fact, the doctor told me, he says, CL, why do you think they call it the silent killer? He says there's a lot of people that have high blood pressure. They don't know about it. Next thing you know, they've had a stroke. Next thing you know, they've had a heart attack or something of that nature. So I said all that to say this. Go have a checkup. Go get it checked up because mine was kind of high. And so you go get a checkup, and just to be on the safe side, because I had forgotten that slogan. That was real popular some years ago. It's a silent killer. And it can be ticking away in you and you don't know it. In fact, the reason I mentioned it being an epidemic, the people that I was talking to who were on high blood pressure were nearly 20 years younger than me. Yeah. So I'm just wondering what I always thought the younger people, they were, rock climbing and all that kind of stuff. I see all that kind of stuff going on. But the doctor told me that no, the reason why it's so high now is because of video games and Twinkies, which I do love Twinkies. not much into video games, but I love me some Twinkies. Don't eat them so much, but I do love them when I eat them. Now, if that is the fact of the matter, that we have become a society of video games and Twinkies, no wonder you have college students on college campuses saying, I just can't take the idea that there might be somebody who is elected to the presidency who talks about personal responsibility. Is there any wonder? Is there any wonder that young people are afraid of him? Is there any wonder that Democrats who have been lining their pockets with special interest money, wanting to keep mascots in their pockets and a victim-like mentality brewing in this country, no wonder they are all against anyone who might say anything about taking a posture of personal responsibility. Remember what I asked you a couple of weeks ago? I asked you this question. And America, we must ask this question of ourselves, and our young people should make it their mantra to ask this question of themselves. What percentage of your choices are your responsibility? That's what I want to know. I mean, because we like to blame everybody else for the circumstance that we find ourselves in. But the truth of the matter is, and the thing that we really should be asking ourselves, is how much did the choices that I made in my life, and I'm talking to all of you who are over the age of 13, okay, or maybe out of the house, maybe those of you who have gone out of the house, because a lot of times kids don't have any real say in the matter as far as the way their lives go. And if you're making bad choices for your kids, then how much of that choice is your responsibility? Especially when you're talking about why are they like that? You got to ask yourself the question: how much of the choices, what percentage of the choices I made toward the kid then are my responsibility? When you start asking the question, why are they like that? Are you hearing me? I know you may want to tune that out, but that's a part of the problem, is that we want to tune it out. But you need to, if we're going to get well, America, that's what I talked to a group of folks last night about. I talked to a group of people last night about that one question: do we want to get well? And our actions sometimes don't necessarily jive with our answer. Yeah. Yes, I want to get well, but I'm going to keep on doing this. Go back to the blood pressure thing where I started this. I want mine to stay regulated. So I know that I have to do certain things to regulate it, right? If I want to do it a natural way, if I want to bring it down without getting on, the medication that some have told me I can't get off of once you get on it. I don't know if that's true or not, but some people have told me that. So I'm going to try to do this the natural way, but I do know I'm going to make some choices in doing that. And America, if we want to get better, if we want to get well, if we want to regulate the American blood pressure, we are going to have to take the initiatives and do the things that make us better. Be back just a couple of minutes.
Well, they say that we are tragic, and they say
CL, back with you on this Friday here in the jewel cities of the Arklatex. And on with me is the senior citizen and senior senator. I'll get that straight here in a minute. The senior senator from Louisiana, none other than our friend, Dr. Bill Cassidy. He's back, and I want to thank you for being here with me today, Bill. Thank you so much for being there.
Hey, CL, thanks for having me. I hope everybody's had a fabulous week.
Absolutely, Bill. And it looks like down in Baton Rouge there's some things going on that we all should be very proud of and paying attention to. I see that the president-elect, Donald Trump, is there stomping for Senator, soon to be, hopefully, Senator John Kennedy. I know that there must be things that you're going to be talking to him about, especially when it comes to Obamacare and the replacement of that. Bring us up to date on what's happening.
Yeah, I'm actually in D.C. We're voting on the flood relief package for North and South Louisiana related to the spring and summer floods. Probably happens sometime like 1 o'clock Saturday morning. But obviously, the only thing that beats someone good like John Kennedy and Mike Johnson is if those who would normally vote for conservatives decide to stay home for whatever reason. They got to wash their car, they want to go hunting, they got a honey-do list, or they just decide to go shopping with the kids. The only thing that beats our strong conservatives is apathy.
Yeah.
When Donald Trump flies in, it lights people up. I think it's a great move getting people out to vote for our candidate.
When we talk about replacement or repealing or revamping Obamacare, which of those, all of those, what are we going to do with that, in your opinion?
We got to. Now, what do people mean when they mean Obamacare? They mean the mandate that the government tells us what to do, therefore how much to pay. The mandate to tell a small businesswoman that she's got to do this. I can go on. That's what people typically think of, and then they think of overpriced insurance plans because of those mandates. So what we have to do is get away from those mandates, to do away with the federal government telling people, again, what benefits they have to buy, therefore how much they have to pay, and oh, by the way, you're going to pay 10 times too much.
Yeah.
We need to get that. We need to get the American people relief of that as soon as possible.
You know, Bill, as you know, I am pro-America. I think it's the greatest nation on the face of the earth, the greatest success story the world has ever known. This past weekend, I was sharing with the folks a little bit earlier before you came on that I heard someone in a meeting that I was speaking to and sort of facilitating. They asked the question. It was a mixed group of people of all races and religious backgrounds and so forth. And one of them actually stood up, Bill, and this is what we're having to fight. And I think you're going to see some of this once the new administration takes hold. They asked this question, Bill, and I'm just giving you a heads up on this. They asked this question: when was America ever great for me? That is something that really troubled it. I brought it home with me because we're going to have to deal with this. That is a mantra that is going to be coming into the American landscape here real soon. What do you say to it?
If someone asks, when has America ever been great for me? They clearly have never been to another country.
Exactly.
They've never been to a country where people do not have enough to eat, where the problem is not that people have too much and perhaps are overweight, but the problem that for the next week they're not sure how much they're going to have.
Exactly.
They've not been to a place where the government, if you say something against the government, you are thrown in jail, and sometimes never seen of before. So I think it's the person that says America's never been great for them is someone who has never seen another place to live.
And folks, I want to tell you, I had not talked to Bill Cassidy at no point in this day have I talked to Bill Cassidy. Bill, your answer to that was almost verbatim what I said to the people about it. They need to visit North Korea, where Kim Jong-un is an idiot. They need to visit communist Russia, where people are starving, or they go to China out in the countryside where people don't know what they're going to eat. And then you tell us. Dr. Cassidy, there's an epidemic of high blood pressure, diabetes in this country. You don't get that by undereating. I don't know. You know, I'm not a doctor. You are. But we do have an obesity problem in this country. Is that right?
And obesity is a problem, if you will, of a society that is so rich that people have so much to eat that they end up having those problems with high blood pressure, diabetes, etc. So even the fact that some of our social problems, if you will, public health problems, it is just totally indicative of it is just an example of the richness of our land.
It is an example.
You know, I am speaking to people who, for example, go to Africa, and they have people who end up with diseases because the only thing they have to eat are bananas, and bananas grow wild, and so they don't. So that they can just walk down the street and pick bananas, and they end up with diseases because they don't have meat, they don't have chicken, eggs, anything else. If you go to these terrible situations in Brazil, where there's all these children who are without parents, and they end up forming these incredible gangs, and the police in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, periodically go in and just have incredible gun battles with these kids.
They kill them.
And human rights
Yeah.
kill them. And
They kill
human
them.
rights organizations, as bad as these kids are, they're being hunted. Now, there are two sides to that, but nonetheless, sometimes we have an incredible problem. We don't have a problem of what is essentially civil war within our city streets.
Bill, how do we help you? Now, give us an idea now. You're about to ascend to be the senior citizen from our great state of Louisiana.
You keep on getting it wrong, CL. Senior senator, not
Did I say
senior citizen.
I don't know why. Senior senator
It
from
rolls off the tongue, and some people have pointed out my hair's a little gray. I tell my kids it's platinum blonde.
That's it. Might as well be you and Farrah Fawcett. But anyway, but let me ask you this: what can we do to help you? What must we do now that we have the Senate, we have the House of Representatives, we have the president we're going to place in office? What do the citizens? What do we need to do now?
Washington, D.C. needs to hear from the American people that they want promises that were made to be promises kept. We promised to repeal and to replace Obamacare with something, again, taking away the mandates, but at the same time, for those with $6,000 deductibles, making that better. I am personally all committed to repeal and replace. Not 3 years from now, not 4 years from now. We need to replace it now. It won't happen overnight, but it should happen within a year or a year and a half. So the American people can see this pathway so that which has been a drag on our economy, a drag on people's personal pocketbooks, is going away, being replaced with something that gives the patient the power, the states the power, anything but the federal government dictating to us how to live our lives. We need the American people just letting folks in Washington know, and I know it, believe me, but some of my colleagues maybe not. We need to repeal and replace it sooner, not later.
Senator Bill Cassidy, the senior senator from Louisiana, I want to thank you for being here with me today. We're going to have you back often now. We're going to have you back often.
I appreciate. Please, CL, please, man. I love that, buddy. I love your program.
God bless and keep you. Talk to you soon, Senator.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
I'm CL. We'll be right back.
You're concerned about my happiness. But all that
CL,
you're giving me,
back with you
I guess.
on this Friday evening here in the jewel cities of the Arklatex. And I want to welcome aboard our friends in Wilmington, North Carolina, and you folks in southern Arkansas, East Texas, and throughout the fruited plains of the greatest nation on the face of the earth, the greatest success story the world has ever known. That is America. I am CL Bryant, and again, this is the CL Bryant Show. Been on the road, as you know, and I want to thank all of my friends like Mike Johnson, who I certainly hope soon to be the next United States representative from Louisiana to represent us in Washington, D.C., and, of course, John Kennedy down there where Donald J. Trump, our good friend, we had John on just the other day. Donald J. Trump, DJT, is down in Baton Rouge stomping for him today. And so let's go forward. Let's move forward and move the ball. Last night, I was with a friend of mine and somebody who I really feel that most likely I'll be spending more and more time with, a fellow that I had met some years ago. He's been on the show several times before, but now I know him. I've gotten a chance to talk to him, and we've gotten a chance to look into each other's eyes, as it is. The old men would say, we've looked at each other's eyes. And he's Larry Taunton. And Larry, I want to welcome you back to the CL Bryant Show. How you been, brother?
Hey, listen, I'm doing great, CL. Did I hear Statler Brothers bumper music?
Yeah, you did. Flowers on the wall.
My father was a huge Statler Brothers fan, so I got to hear that on the 8-track tapes in the background when I was a kid.
Oh man! People out there, these kids don't know what 8-track tapes are all about, man. But I talked a little
No,
bit.
they don't.
I was with Larry Taunton last night, Fixed Point Ministries, there in Birmingham, Alabama. Last night, I flew in there from Washington, and Larry has been an excellent host. His wife and his whole crew were just fantastic and fabulous people. And you know what, Larry? I forgot to get me a piece of that cake that you had there at that place the other night and bring it home with me.
Well,
Man.
and I tell you what, we were such fine hosts. I forgot to give you dinner last night.
No, I couldn't handle it, man. I really couldn't. We were so Larry and I had been at it all day long. But listen, you had just returned from Oxford. You've just returned.
That's
Fixed
right.
Point was represented over there in the person of its founder, Larry Taunton. Tell us the condition of Oxford, and tell us why you were there.
Yes, CL. First of all, it was a delight hosting you, and I should say to all your listeners that you rocked the place. You got a standing ovation, and that in of itself is impressive. But it was a joy for us to have you, and I tell you, it was a time well spent getting to know you too. And yes, just a few days ago, I got back from the UK, and where I was spending some time in London as well as in Oxford. And some of what we're doing over there is it had been my pleasure to be I spent some time equipping some people over there who are engaging with radical Muslims. I'm sure that it's no shock to you to discover that London is a bit of a hub for radicalism, and these are people. It's a fascinating kind of stuff, CL. These are people who are engaging with such folks as evangelists at ground level. They're engaging with them in conversation at places like Speaker's Corner in Hyde Park, also in mosques and so forth. It's absolutely fascinating, and it is because you made a couple of references when you were here to the cultural conversation and to dialogue, and in the podcast, which people will be able to hear of the two of us talking, the Fixed Point podcast, which people can listen to on iTunes. You were talking about dialogue and how we as Americans have lost our ability to do that. Well, in Britain, there remains a very strong tradition of public debate, and we see that if you just turn on C-SPAN and you watch, parliamentary debate. But it also takes place at places like Speaker's Corner and Hyde Park. And these people go out and they engage in debate on things like the Bible and the Quran and so forth. And it was my privilege to participate in one of those debates, and then to go to Oxford and to spend some time there speaking to students.
You tell a story, Larry, of a woman who went into a mosque.
Yeah.
Would you share that with my audience?
Yeah, absolutely fascinating. CL, this is a young woman. Without me giving too many specifics, she was born in an Islamic country, and she is formerly Muslim. She converted to Christianity, and people like this, when they convert, is different than my conversion or your conversion, CL. Our conversions probably didn't involve the loss of absolutely everything, but when a Muslim converts to Christianity, it often means their very lives are in danger. And it means the loss of family, the loss of friends, complete ostracism. And this woman converted. She knew the cost of her conversion. She was ready to die for her faith. She entered into a mosque where she was engaging in conversation, civil dialogue, with an imam that she knew, an Islamic cleric. And during the course of this conversation, a number of Muslim men surrounded her, attacked her, broke her leg, and then strung her up by her neck in an attempt to hang her.
Wow. Fortunately,
others intervened, saved her. These men have since been prosecuted, but this only a month ago. But then, amazingly, she a week later, on crutches and a neck brace and so forth,
wow,
she went straight back into that same mosque where she began to engage the imam again, who said he was very embarrassed at what happened and he didn't know what to do, and he stood by and he watched. And she said, I'm not here for that. I'm here to finish our conversation about the person of Jesus Christ. And
wow.
To me, I hear a story like that, and I know you do too, CL, and I'm just blown away by that level of courage. And when I compare it to Christians in this country who, with the exception of, say, a Hobby Lobby, often...
Hold that thought right there. Hold that thought right there. We're on with Larry Taunton, The Faith of Christopher Hitchens. We're going to talk about that, too. He's the author of that. I'll be back in just a minute.
Covering up.
Look, the simple fact is, if you think this is tough and
CL. Friday. This is the gateway to the weekend show. This show will rerun tomorrow and again on Monday. Be sure to turn your dial over to 101.7 on the FM and catch us there on the FM's channel. And, of course, 710 KEEL Keel on the AM channel. Again, you folks up there in Wilmington, North Carolina, WLTT 1180 on the dial. We're on with author, constitutionalist, preacher. Oh, he wears many hats, but the founder. He is Fixed Point Ministries there in Birmingham, Alabama. And you were saying, Larry, that type of courage that you described in that formerly Muslim convert to Christianity is not necessarily found so readily in America. Finish your thought.
Well, CL, as I listened to your story as you were talking, maybe what I'm saying doesn't completely resonate with you because, your own journey has required no small measure of courage. But many Christians in this country, it's the nature of our culture, and so I don't want this to come off as in an accusatory way towards an American public. I just simply say that Christianity here tends to be a little bit more cotton candy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And they actually do serve cotton candy in many churches that I have attended. Not that there's anything wrong with that, okay? But they actually do.
Well,
Anyway.
it is kind of an interesting metaphor, isn't it?
It truly is.
But I just think that, Jesus changed an empire with a small band of people who were like this woman, just totally sold out, totally dedicated to their cause and prepared to suffer for it. And I contrast that with an American Christianity that often can be very shallow, not always, but often can be very shallow, be very materialistic, and where the threat of litigation or of physical harm is often enough to cause American Christians to retreat. And I say this because last year I was doing a debate on Al Jazeera, a huge, it was broadcast to 260 million people globally, and I was debating a prominent Muslim cleric, and I recall being told beforehand that I might receive death threats. And so I was talking to a friend of mine who engages in this sort of thing very regularly in London with the same group that I just mentioned. And he said, well, Larry, of course, you will get death threats, but hey, you got to do it anyway because this is the way they operate. They're used to threatening Christians and seeing them scatter. We've got to get beyond that. We've got to be willing to, to go forward in spite of that. So
You've said
I'm
something
impressed with those people who do it.
You said something very interesting, that they're used to threatening Christians and seeing them scatter. Larry, what happens? What then should be the Christian response? Because too many do scatter, in my opinion. I'm one of those guys who is about standing and fighting. I'm one of those guys, and I don't know if that's good, bad,
UCL?
or ugly. Is it now time for us not to just turn our heads and pretend we don't see what's going on, or should we engage the thing? What do you say?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that listen, one doesn't want to be unnecessarily provocative, and you want to choose your battles carefully. But I think that the very celebrated case of I believe it's the bakery in Colorado where they refused to to make the cake for the gay wedding, and then litigation was brought against them. Well, of course, the reason the left brought litigation against them is they wanted to make an example of them for the rest of the country. This is what will happen to you if you refuse services to people like this. And in that particular instance, those people stood their ground, and I'm proud of them for doing so. But I wonder how many other instances, and we will never know this until heaven, but where people did give in and where people didn't take a stand for the things that were right. And the reason that they didn't do it is because they were fearful, or they were fearful of getting marked off the party list, or not getting a promotion that they wanted, or perhaps losing their job.
Larry, what I want to do, give your website. I want to bring you back next week. To talk about your writing. He's a very accomplished author, and I want to go into detail about this. As you know, I've been on the road. It's a stacked house here on the show today, Larry Taunton. Give us your website. How do we get a hold of your books and your thoughts?
Surely. Larry Alex Taunton, that's TAUNTON.com. LarryAlexTaunton.com, and you'll find my books, The Faith of Christopher Hitchens, The Grace Effect, many of my articles in the American Spectator, Atlantic, USA Today, CNN.com, Fox. You'll find them all there, and you will soon find C.L. Bryant's wonderful talk from last night on that website.
Bless your heart.
LarryAlexTaunton.com.
Bless your heart. God bless and keep you, man. Fight the good fight. I know you will because
Hey.
you are. You're fighting.
Hey, you too, and roll tide.
Oh, you had to get that jab in. I'll get you for that, Larry. Listen, God bless and keep you, man. I'll talk to you soon.
right.
Go Tigers.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
I'm CL. We're going to be coming up with a candidate for juvenile court judge here in just a couple of minutes. And Ree Casey Jones, she was in with us just a couple of weeks ago. And I had a chance to meet her and talk to her. I do believe she has the right heart. She is definitely prepared to take on the job of being juvenile court judge. And I think she's exactly what we need in that position. She's going to be coming up here in just a few minutes after the break. Now, I want us to understand something, that we are now in a time, folks, where we cannot pretend that we're not seeing what's going on around us. We'll talk about it after we speak with Ree Casey Jones, juvenile court judge, when I return. And her number, whenever you're ready, Jay.
Yep, just let me save this and lock it down so I can
Okay.
focus on it.
How many more we got to go, man?
4 more.
Okay, good. That's good.
I'm ready.
Her number is 415.
Is that the area code?
No, that's her. It's a 318 area code. 318 area code. 415-9586. Attorney Casey Jones.
Hey, it's Jay with the TheCLBryantShow. How are you? Oh, we're doing fantastic. You know we appreciate you coming on. All right. If all is well, I'll go ahead and get you in with CL. This is going to be pre-tape. We're going to air this tonight. Okay. Yeah, we're ready now. If you're good to go. Okay. No rush. Sure, I'll bet CL.
Okay. Cool. We just got 4 more.
Hey, okay, we're here. All right, so I will go ahead and get you in with CL. We'll be pre-recorded here in a second. Here we go. All right, here we go, CL.
The sky is crying.
CL on a Friday evening here in the jeweled cities of the Arklatex, Shreveport, and Bossier City. All you folks there in Wilmington, North Carolina, thank you for tuning in. And South Arkansas, East Texas, glad you came along. And throughout the fruited plains of the greatest nation on the face of the earth, the greatest success story the world has ever known, America, where we're streaming live, we welcome you back for the home stretch of the C.L. Bryant Show. Folks, a couple of weeks ago I had on the show someone who I truly feel is uniquely qualified and is ready to be juvenile court judge here in Caddo Parish. And I want to tell you that a person with the type of insight and heart that Ree Casey Jones has is exactly the type of person that we want and need in this position. So, on the 10th of this month, that's tomorrow, I need you to go out and vote. And you'll remember the name, Ree Casey Jones. She's joining me right now. Ree, thank you so much for being there. How have you been?
Thank you for having me. I've been doing good. How you been doing?
Doing fantastically well. How's the race going?
It's going well. It's going well. Less than 24 hours.
Less than 24 hours.
Yes.
And we will be looking at, I certainly hope, naming Ree Casey Jones to the juvenile court as judge. Now, Ree, tell the audience why you want this job.
Well, my message has been the same throughout the campaign. That basically, I want to help rehabilitate these families. I want to help save our children. Nothing is more important than our children. They're our future. And so we need someone in this position who has compassion and has the integrity to lead by example. Okay? And so I don't want to be a person who the children are looking at and they're like, okay, she's talking out both sides of her mouth. I want to mean what I say and say what I mean. And so that's the reason why I want to be judge, because I want to help change our future society.
And folks understand what she's just said. She wants to help rehabilitate families, and she wants to help save our children. And it's not because there aren't families that don't need rehabilitation. You know it's true. And you know that there are children who need saving. It takes vision to see that. And Ree Casey Jones, I do believe, has the vision to see that. Ree, if in fact the Lord blesses you and you're honored to receive this position, I certainly hope that tell us as citizens, and I guess this is the best question to ask. Tell us as citizens, what can we do? What do you see us doing to help the juvenile court system from our vantage point? What is it that we're not doing? How are we not engaging as citizens?
Well, I can't say that we're not engaging as citizens. I think a lot of people feel, or they have this misconception that, it's not my problem. I don't have a child anymore. I'm a grandparent, or I don't have kids at all. And so it doesn't affect me. So I don't care who they have on the bench. But it does affect us. It affects us all, regardless of whether you have kids or not, grandkids or not. Because just because you're not the person or your child's not the person that's appearing before a judge downtown doesn't mean that something's going to happen in your life where you may be affected. I just told someone the other day, a child may commit a crime against you, okay? And they're going to have to appear before juvenile court. Okay, you want them to appear before a judge who has the best interest of everyone involved.
Very
and
good.
That's the thing. So it's affecting you there. You never know where you're going to be in life. So it's good to make sure that we have the right people in the right places. And it doesn't have to be a child or a grandchild. It could be a niece or a nephew or whomever. You never know where you're going to be in life. And you never know what child is going to grace your life. So you need to make sure that the right people are in the right places and that you're informed of the people that you're putting in place.
Go vote tomorrow, folks. And when you vote for juvenile court judge, when you vote tomorrow, you vote Ree Casey Jones. I do believe, folks, you will not be sorry for that vote. Ree, I want to thank you so much for being on with me. God bless you. God keep you. And I certainly am looking forward to your victory.
God bless you. Thank you so much, CL. Have a good one.
I'm CL. We're going to be back in just a little bit here. And I want to tell you something, folks. It is time out for us turning our heads, pretending that we don't see. Okay? Because there are some things going around. Did you hear what Ree Casey Jones said? Did you hear what Ree said? She said that one of the reasons why you need to get involved and pay attention to what's going on in this juvenile court system, and the reason why we need to choose someone who has everyone's best interest at heart as sitting there as juvenile court judge is because, and we've seen this throughout the nation, and we see it here in Louisiana, somebody's child can actually hurt you if, in fact, you don't pay attention. And one of the problems that we have had in our country is exactly what Ree described. And that is this. We think that it is somebody else's problem. We think it is somebody else's child. And yeah, maybe it is somebody else's child. But when that child has a gun thrown down on you, oh, you're wishing it was yours. So be engaged now. Be engaged now. And so, folks, the time is out for us pretending, turning our heads, looking the other way, and pretending that we don't see nothing. No, your lying eyes are not lying. It's crumbling. Families do need rehabilitation. And young people, too many of them, too many young people need saving. Talk to you about another epidemic when I return. Be right back. CL, back for the home stretch of the CL Bryant Show here on this cold Friday in the Jewel Cities. I see that it might warm up to rain, but before then, it's just going to get a little bit colder tonight. Flew back in about 2 hours ago now, almost 2 hours ago now, and just had to get here to do the show. It is a troubled country that we are in, yes, as someone who is, I'm really encouraged about the outcome, actually, of the presidential election. But that doesn't mean that everybody is. You know that. And because of that, there is turmoil. There is turmoil that is going on in this country, And when we look at the effect that it has on college students, and when we look at the effect that it has on, I'm talking about people in the age bracket of 18 to 25. There is a melancholy. Now, this didn't begin because Obama became president or because Trump is going to be president. This didn't begin then. This has been a trend that has been taking place now for quite some time. And it's disturbing. It's a very disturbing trend. And that is the trend of suicide among young people. Suicide. I mean, killing themselves. And I have seen an epidemic and heard of epidemics. I've seen it is actually affected my family. I have seen it in other families of people that I have known. And I have heard and read about it on too many occasions over the past years. And that is young people hanging themselves. Yeah, hanging themselves, taking their lives, hanging themselves. And in one or two cases, the young person hung themselves in a way that when the parents came in, they saw them. That's the first thing they saw. Okay? And my question to that is how bad do you have to hate somebody to kill yourself and want them to be the people purposely to find you? What went wrong there? And then back to the question that I asked, what percentage of choices are you responsible for? And it's a funny thing about a kid who decides to hang himself. It's not like taking an overdose of something or cutting yourself or something like that. It's not like that. Because, folks, I'm going to tell you something. If you by yourself, because I don't know. I mean, I'm going to say I don't know. But I imagine that if you hang yourself, there's very little you can do if you mean it. Now, you may have something, to say, hey, this ain't what I want to do. But there's an epidemic of it that's going on. And sometimes it is happening with young people who you certainly would not expect to do that. Oh, it's a twisted world. It's a twisted world that we live in. Lack of direction is a world that's lacking direction. Kids who feel that there is no way out but this way out. That is sad. So my encouragement to you is this. Talk to them. Listen, take some time. And I'm not talking about talking at them. Lord, and listen, take the advice of somebody. This is the wisdom. How's that song? Take a fool's advice. And let me tell you something. All of us have been foolish parents, whether we want to admit it or not. For me, I became a parent very, very young. My wife and I, we were very, very young. And I admit, maybe, although they've all turned out okay, but I think I kind of made the older kids crazy. We have 4, but the younger ones turned out better quicker than the older ones did. And it's because maybe I was young myself and didn't really have the parenting skills that I needed. And I talked a lot at them instead of talking to them. I'm giving all you parents, especially you young parents, you young mothers and fathers out there, the one thing I have grown to realize, though, is that they're only little once. Jay, hear me, man. They're only little one time. Okay? And you can never get those years back. Never. And so, since this is an epidemic that's going on in this country, we may need to learn how to listen. It used to be kids were seen and not heard, but they're not going to shut up now. I don't know where that changed. I don't know where it flipped. It did flip. I do believe we were a better society when kids were seen and not heard, and maybe not. Maybe it's led us to this. I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but I have conversation, and I do want to be a bridge to conversation on things that we need to talk about, because the elephant and the gorilla in the American living room is just not politics. The answers to our problems will not come in on Air Force One. We're going to have to talk about some things, and we're going to have to talk to our young people. I'm CL. Be back. Yeah. We sometimes are. That was a perfect song. We sometimes are, Jay, in a state of being dazed and confused. And there is a healing that is going to have to take place in this land of ours. There is a healing that has to take place. And if you are a person who prays, you pray that God comes, that we pray him to come and heal our land, because there's a healing that needs to take place. Now, I did share this in Birmingham, Alabama last night with Fixed Point last night. A great crowd of folks there in Birmingham. And I want to share this with you because all of you know I'm a son of Louisiana, native son here of Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm a son of the South. Yeah, listen, I'm proud to be an American. I really and truly am. I really am. Because, you see, when you hear my story, when you hear me talking to you, you are hearing the voice of the great-grandson of former slaves. And so when I hear someone say to me, when was America ever great for me? It was definitely great the day that my grandfather, who could not read his name if you wrote it in the sky and pointed his eyes toward it. It was great the day that my great-grandfather was freed, emancipated in this country, and then it was great the day he was able to take advantage of his God-given abilities to grow crops. Oh, it was a great, and those crops belonged to him. From the sweat of his brow. He was uneducated, so uneducated that he had to name the boys that were born to him and my grandmother, and my great grandmother, by initials. That's why I still bear the initial CL. Cleon Lewis, my name, but CL. I do that so I don't forget just how great this nation is. And when I hear somebody say the words, when was this ever? It was great. Because if you are here, I don't care if you're red, yellow, black, or white. If you are here, somebody paid the price for you to still be here. Are you understanding what I'm telling you? Then pass that on to your children. Because your children are asking the question, when was America ever great for me? When they hear the words, make America great again, they don't understand that there have been prices paid for us to be where we are. And then down through the ages, from the time that he was emancipated to this time, and I certainly hope that he's somewhere around the throne of God, happy that he did not pay the price that he paid so that I could be black. He paid the price that he paid so that I could be free. Are you hearing me? He paid the price that he paid so that I could be free in this country. Black and proud, yes. American and proud even more. But that's what my grandfather did. Great-grandfather did. He paid the price. Granddad did the same. My dad did the same. I tried to do my part for my kids. You need to try. You need not no. You need to do. There was a employer that I had many years ago now. Many years ago, his name was Dave Franks. Never will forget him. He lived over in Starville, Texas. Had a place right up there on some water, lake. It was a beautiful place. But he was district manager of a company that I worked for. Dave Franks said, don't try. Do. That may be a hard thing to grasp. But folks, the bottom line does come to this. You either succeed or you fail. And I don't know who said it, but even if you come in second, you still lost. That may sound like something hard medicine there, but when we look at all these little league people who are all these folk getting trophies and so forth, that's the lesson that they need to learn. It's second is still second. The guy who won gets the trophy. Get the trophy with our kids. That was my point. Is that because there is an epidemic? I'm really concerned. You may not be aware of it, but there's an epidemic that's going on here with our young people. And somewhere, because they're coming out of homes, sometimes they're not, though. Sometimes they're not coming out of homes. There is such a brokenness in this country right now that sometimes they may not be coming out of homes. And certainly there is an example of not taking personal responsibility, not even for your children, that has taken place in this country that we can't long suffer, because it will take down a society. Because I'm getting older. Even my children are getting older. And what we have tried to place in them, I'm just not seeing it in my grandchildren. Not all of them, anyway. Not all of them. I have some that do very well in school, but in other matters, common sense, I'm very concerned. Be back to close it out in just a minute. Yeah, that is what it's boiling down to. Can we again be great when it comes to the money in America? I tell you one thing, stock market is sure. The Dow is certainly liking what it's seeing and the promise of a new administration. And I think you're going to like this tumbler that I'm holding in my hand right now, and you can have it. It's one of a kind. It has all of the 44, now 45 presidents on it. And you can go to refreshingliberty.com. Refreshingliberty.com. This was a gift to me by a friend of mine, Louis Avalone. You know who Louis is. But this is a gift to me from him. But I want to encourage you to go to refreshingliberty.com and get one of these. It keeps your drinks hot and cold. And it has all of the 45 presidents on it and the time that they served. And it is a wonderful, wonderful tumbler type cup to have. Well, folks, it's about time for me to wrap it up and close it up. And as always, the time goes by real fast. 101.7, you can grab us right here at 101.7 or at 710 Keel, 710keel.com. Ask you to stay with us at least 2 hours a day, in and out. I know sometimes you do it because you're in and out of your vehicles, but when you're at home or in your office, stay tuned. Keep us tuned. 101.7 here on the FM dial and 710 Keel on the AM dial. And all of you folks in Wilmington, North Carolina, want to thank you for being there with us at 1180 WLTT there in Wilmington and throughout the fruited plains of the United States. I want to encourage you to download the free C.L. Bryant Show app onto your iPhone or Android device. And remember, we the American people, we truly are, if we will be, we are still in charge of this country. There's no need to fear the election of any politician. No, because we the people put whoever is in office. And we the people can take them out. We the people spoke. And we the people can still speak. And so don't be afraid of anyone taking office, because we will survive this as we have survived everything else. I want to thank God for bringing us to the close of yet another day, and I want to thank him for our men and women in uniform around the globe who defend our right to speak our minds. And until I'm able to talk to you again, I'm CL, and may God bless and keep you all.
We'll stand by your side, and the